YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. After day 3 of the NFL Combine here at my winners and losers, we did the same thing for day 1. Day 2, we'll do the same thing for day 4. Day 4 kicking off here in a couple hours, so excited to watch the DBs. We'll have a post-Combine updated mock draft tomorrow, which is Monday. I'm a little under the weather, so bear with me with this one. But yeah, a lot of stock changes here for the NFL draft, so really excited to break this down. Follow our Twitter, a lot of updates, live updates on the Combine. A lot of rumors for free agency and trades kind of floating around there, so we got you covered on Twitter. Link down below for that. It's also on your screen. And important links are also pinned in the comment section, some recent videos. So, and there's our Twitter again. Yeah, so we're always got these updates here, always talking some free agency rumors. But, yeah, back to Jordan Davis. I mean, it's going to be a Georgia Bulldog defense type of video here. I mean, talk about maybe the best defense in college football history, and we see it. We saw it, and now we're kind of seeing it again when these guys test and where their draft value is at. But Jordan Davis, the defensive tackle / nose tackle from Georgia, I mean, the guy weighing 341 pounds and moving like that, 4.78, even better than the unofficial, and the broad jump, ridiculous too, 10.3 broad jump. I believe it was a record for a guy weighing that much as well. I mean, it's just – so what I was talking about on Twitter, these players just don't exist. Like, they don't exist. So that's why it definitely helps his stock. I talked about maybe the very latest he goes to the Raiders. Raiders looking for some D tackles. Patrick Graham going to value that, but really don't think he's there at this point. Look at the top 13. The Browns looking for some interior guys to plug in there. I mean, that would be deadly, that defense. So could go top 10 just because, again, there's just not – these guys don't exist. They don't exist. And we talk about maybe the last great nose tackle to go pretty early. And keep in mind, Jordan Davis, they had Wyatt line up at nose tackle at times, and Davis, they moved around. But last big-time guy to go early was Vita Vea, who's a dominant nose tackle, the best run stopper in the NFL. Just got a giant contract, well-deserved, and he gets pressure on the quarterback as well. So teams are, even though it's a passing league, teams are looking for those guys. Like if you can get one guy in there just to upgrade your run-stopping ability that much and he can provide interior pressure, it's rare, but the teams are interested in those guys. So he's going to go very early now, very early there. So, I mean, just a wild moment there in the NFL Combine. Another Georgia Bulldog is kind of partner in crime there, Devonta Wyatt, who's a little smaller, obviously. But you've seen him even line up at nose tackle at time, but going to see him over the guard, maybe a hair inside the guard most of the time. I like his shiftiness when you watch him on tape, kind of side to side, kind of creating separation from the offensive lineman, getting after the quarterback. So he has that interior pressure. We saw him move extremely well as well throughout the whole day of the Combine. So, teams want those defensive tackles that can create interior pressure, that are a little freaky, could obviously move, and that's a guy like Devonta Wyatt. He's looking like a first-round pick, but maybe kind of borderline. Some talk with him around the Raiders range as well, but shouldn't really drop out of the top 25. You look at the Bills at the very latest, they're at 25, who have quite a few free agents at the D-tackle position, so they could grab him. They could re-sign those guys. That's why free agency is going to play a big part before the draft here. But, yeah, these guys are just freaky. They're just freaky. On top of that, there is somewhat of a shortage on the D-tackles. I think after a certain point, there's some really, really good ones. Some guys that it's rare, like for their size, how they're able to move, so good. So, like, such a good class when looking at that from that perspective. But there's kind of a drop-off. So teams that are in need of a potential starter or a near-future starter, they're going to want to get their hands on one of these guys. As someone on Twitter as well yesterday, it's just interesting that because, I mean, the Combine happens every year except for last year, and there's always these random guys. We'll talk about, not random, but there's always some under-the-radar guys that stand out at the top of the position group. But the defensive tackle position throughout the Combine yesterday, in day 3, it was just the 3 studs. It was the 3 top dogs at the position were the best, and they know how to show up and test. They're freaky dudes. And Travis Jones, I think Travis Jones kind of gets swept under the rug a little bit because of kind of hidden a little bit, not talked about enough because Jordan Davis, that big dude that can line up at nose tackle, moving that fast, I think kind of doesn't make people don't realize how crazy what Travis Jones did, how crazy it was, because he's a big dude as well, can line up at nose tackle, under 5 under a 5.40 is great for him. It's just Jordan Davis did something ridiculous. But what Travis Jones did was fantastic. Some good numbers on the 3-cone and shuttle too. Shows the quickness. So you love to see that as well. Yeah, that 3-cone time is really, really good. I mean, talking guys like this size, if they're under 7.50, you're getting freaky. And I think he's well under that. Better than some of the pass rushers, which is crazy. Before top 50, I had a mock where I had him late 1. Had a mock where I had him inside that 2 range. I'm thinking he's a first round. It's going to be borderline. I'm thinking he's a first rounder just because the guy that size can move like that. He's very good at creating interior pressure, can line up at nose or D tackle. Teams want these guys. They're game changers, and there's more of them in the league now, but there is, less of them that can really impact the game that much. Talking about Aaron Donald, Chris Jones, Cam Hayward, and Jeffrey Simmons is probably getting in there now too. So, Buckner, there's a couple other guys obviously, but there's not a long list of guys that can really just win the game for you by themselves. And that's a position where if they continue to consistently get that interior pressure while stopping a run, it's just a huge game changer there. Trayvon Walker, who was my guy, I was hyping him up heading into this combine, and loved the workout from him. I think everybody did. Everyone shooting him up their boards now. Just being 6'5" and 272. This is a big man. It's a big man there with that's played multiple positions. You see how versatile he is as well. But running a 4.51 is just ridiculous for that size. We see the crazy length he has as well. 3-cone, 6.89. It's insane. That time is insane. I mean, for a lanky, big guy, sometimes it's okay if they're not kind of great in the 3-cone or the shift, the quickness drills. And it's just a ridiculous time there. I mean, that might be more ridiculous than the 40 time. 4.51's pretty insane, though, because 4.5s, even for a receiver, is flying. Vert 35.5, solid there. Before, I know a lot of people weren't really talking about him top 10. I kind of was. I think people were starting to. But I was very, 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 very confident that the league saw him as a top 10 guy even before. So I think before he was a top 10 guy, and now I look at top 6. It's gonna be interesting because again he's a versatile player. He's lined up inside, almost at a D tackle, 3 technique. He's lined up at defensive end where I like him. He's with a hand in the dirt. Standing up, see him dropping coverage a ton, and so I think people focus too much on the. I talked about this a while ago, but on the production with him, because if you watch the tape, you realize how much upside he has and how close he was to a lot more production, but that he's doing so much other things. Like if he were to line up as an edge rusher and not dropping coverage as much and just rush the passer as much as the other pass rushers of this class, you look at. Hutchinson and Jermaine Johnson. Thibodeaux dropped coverage a little bit, but he would have as much, if not more, production than those guys. You can kind of see it there, and with his length, his strength, it's ridiculous. So I would not focus too much on the production. But yeah, trying to figure out where will 3-4 teams like him as an outside linebacker. You kind of get the feeling with his size and his length. His ability to work from his hand with his hand in the dirt, maybe a more 4-3 end. Most of those teams that yes, they need a pass rusher. They're more 3-4. Yeah, again, he can fit them. I do like that he has the ability to drop in coverage. It's good for a 3-4 team like the Giants. But the 4-3 teams, look at the Texans who picked 3. We haven't seen that mocked much. The Panthers, we don't see a pass rusher mocked much there just because they need offense, but they're going to let Reddick test free agency. Brian Burns, a fantastic defensive end on the other side. I pair Walker with him. I mean, you got possibly an elite defense, and they're kind of heading that way anyways with their defense, but do have to get that offense under control. So we'll see where he goes. I'm a big fan of Trayvon Walker here. So much upside. I think he can make an impact day 1 as well. Sam Williams, had a massive day. Again, the most of the talk is about the Georgia guys, as it kind of should be, but guys like Sam Williams, maybe not talked about enough. The man ran a 4.46 40-yard dash. That's a great time for a wide receiver, and he had all this production in the SEC going against some solid tackles. He's got some pretty good size to him, 6'4". 261 used to be kind of light. It's not so light anymore. Yeah, where will teams view him 4-3 end, which I think his best play kind of looks like that type of role, but because he's fast, he's 261. I think he's pretty scheme versatile there. And some pretty good numbers across the board, but that 4.46 is just ridiculous. For a guy like that, see him, he's pretty built. He's got the production. The concern with him is his run-stopping ability. Kind of puts himself in the wrong position, misreads things. Before, I was kind of thinking, right before the combine, I actually started watching him. I was kind of thinking, around that second round. Some people were talking about round 3, which is top 75, that round 2 to round 3 range. But now it just looks like he's really not going to get out of the second round. I think there's a shot he can go in the first. It's going to be interesting. How will teams view Ajabo? Because Ajabo is a fantastic pass rusher, but he's got that run defense concern. Same with Sam Williams. Good pass rusher, freaky athletic, end up being more athletic than Ajabo testing-wise. The run defense, can we work with him? So are these guys going to drop because of that? Teams are just dying to get these day one starting pass rushers, so maybe they take him late first. Maybe, again, because Trayvon Walker's probably going to go a little earlier than everyone thought. We know Hutchinson's going over there. Thibodeaux probably still going up there. Jermaine Johnson's going up there. So these teams might not even have a shot, some of these other teams, at some of the day one starting guys, so maybe they pull the trigger late one there for a guy like Sam Williams. So very impressed with him. Amare Barno from Virginia Tech ran a 4.36. Another guy, we're not really talking about this enough, a pass rusher, ran a 4.36 40-yard dash, and he was very, very freaky across the board in all the testing. So looking into him a little more, has some good play, has the athleticism, shows up on tape, but not getting much talk before. A little on the lighter side. I did think he put on a little. You see, he was skinny in that picture. I thought he's still a little on the thinner side, but I thought he put on a little bit more muscle as well. When we saw him at the combine. So maybe he was around that round 5 range. I mean, a guy moving that fast, it's a guy you want to work with. So possibly round 3 could still, be in that round 4 range. But across the board, some freaky numbers. Not just the 4.36 40, which stands out the most, but just absolutely ridiculous. Boye Maefe, who worked out with the linebackers, you like the fit of him as a 3-4 outside linebacker, pass rusher. He put the world on notice at the Senior Bowl in the game. I like that he showed up at the game too. I had a big game there. But he had some good size with him, some good moments dropping. And that's the thing with him, some good moments dropping in coverage. I think he has some good moments stopping a run as well. So maybe that separates him from some of the other guys. So maybe he's going to go even earlier. I mean, I think he's going in the first round now. But 4.5 3.40, some just really good numbers across the board. 10.5 broad, 38 vertical. It's ridiculous, but man, he might be one of the more safer prospects all of a sudden, which is kind of rare from started as an under radar guy, shown improvement, over the course of his career, obviously, which is great. Could he go earlier than top 32? Because he might be one of the safer prospects. So be curious to see, but it feels like a first-round prospect now. Another Georgia Bulldog, Channing Tindal. This is a freak workout. Another guy, it's a Georgia guy. Probably not being talked about enough, probably because of Jordan Davis and Trayvon Walker. But, this is a certified freak workout. It started with the 42-inch vertical. 42-inch vertical is, jumping out of the damn stadium. It's absolutely ridiculous. 10.9 broad is ridiculous. He runs a 4.47. He's kind of built, obviously big guy. I like him in the blitz game, really attacking the ball or the quarterback in the blitz game. 6'2", 230, good size. He looks like he's bigger than that, but Georgia, people wonder, are so many good guys in Georgia's defense, are they making other guys look better than they are? I understand that argument, but I think it's the opposite with a lot of these guys. They weren't always on the field. It's just an elite defense. I think the secondary is where you could start wondering that because, quarterbacks didn't have a lot of time to throw. Confusing defense to kind of in terms of pre-snap. And don't get me wrong, the secondary, we'll see them today. They're very good, those defensive backs. Force obvious passing situations, but these guys are actually on the underrated side. Channing Tindal, who probably get at least in year 2, year 3, around that range in the NFL, probably be getting more snaps than he was at Georgia, which is ridiculous. A guy like that's freaky. He's got to go in the second round. Teams looking for these freaky linebackers here. Troy Anderson was kind of an under-the-radar guy, possibly day 3. Montana State, starting to look into him a little bit more now because he's an under-the-radar guy. They used him a bit everywhere. He actually played quarterback back in his past as well, but they used him a bit utility type linebacker, really. Line him up here, line him up there, dropping him coverage, getting after quarterback. Just a freaky testing day. I mean, a guy like that, you don't really expect to test that well. I thought he looks a little more built, too, than where you see him on Montana State. Gets great. Numbers are staying fantastic. 4.42, 10.8, 36 vertical. It's ridiculous. Today's NFL, these freaky linebackers, guy with some experience and versatility, they're looking for him, so possibly could be a day 2 guy now. Then Damien Clark from LSU has been getting a lot of buzz, but they were around that round 3 range before, possibly go top 50 now. Pretty good workout. 4.57 is good for him. Really good inside linebacker, so if those are good numbers for an inside linebacker at 3 cones, pretty damn good for him. But the on-the-field drills, I thought he was consistently smooth on all the on-the-field drills. So one of those guys that not only tested pretty well, maybe nothing, pretty damn crazy what those numbers are, but nothing insane like some of these other guys. But then on top of that, ran on the field very, very well with those drills. So very impressed with him. Talk about some more guys. Aidan Hutchinson, I think there was a little bit more hype on his 40. He kind of ran in the right range for me. Not worried. It's not great. It's not no way bad at all. Great. The 3-cone and shuttle, which those kind of get hit in those numbers. Very, very good. We talked about Trayvon Walker's 3-cone earlier in this video, and Hutchinson had a better. He had the best of the class out of defensive ends all-time combine. Hutchinson actually has the second best all-time. It's ridiculous. It shows quickness, and then shuttle was fantastic as well. Nick Bonito, edge rusher from Oklahoma, he put on, because that was the concern with him before. Is he an undersized pass rusher? Too undersized, maybe. League's changing a little bit, but yeah, gained some weight and tested very, very, very well for him too. I was just really confused on why he was with the D-line group, like more of the defensive tackles. Very confused on that. It's not necessarily it's not like a terrible thing, but it's not a good thing either. So that's why I'm kind of questioning that, because why I say that is because did he choose to go with them? Why? Did he rather do the defensive line drills? It doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really help him with his showing here. Or did teams suggest that he do that? And again, why? Because he was almost, and now he's not underweight for an edge rusher, but he was underweight for an edge rusher. Now you got him working with it's very confusing. There's got to be something behind it, but I don't know. Kayvon Thibodeaux, impressive 40 and 10-yard split, very impressive. Was a little, if you watch, they were kind of ripping him a little bit, a little concerning on why he didn't do the drills, because he said he was going to do the drills, and the reasons he explained were not good reasons either. So there was some questions with his effort. Maybe that stays with that. So I guess we'll see him at his pro day. Really wanted to see what he can put up in terms of the 3-cone and shuttle. Those are pretty important to me for the pass rusher. You see Aidan Hutchinson really stood out in those categories. And then, I wanted to compare Thibodeaux. Couldn't do that. So the 10-yard split was fantastic, though. Arnold Ebiketie from Penn State. Impressive very good vert and broad jump. Explosive. Shows explosiveness. Freaky numbers. The hell didn't he run the 40, though? I feel like he'd be good in the 40, so what's behind that? It's not really a bad thing. I feel like I still think he would have timed well, but what's behind that? But some pretty freaky numbers there. Jermaine Johnson, great all-around workout. It was it was some good numbers. He was a speedy guy, looked good in the drills as well. It's kind of what we expect from him, though. I still think he's in that, possibly in that top 10 range of the draft. I don't think much changed there. Christian Harris tested very well. We had a 4.4. 440, I believe, which is a great number for him. It kind of matches the tape, though. He flies around the field. I like him kind of being used in a unique way. Blitz him, even put him off the edge at times, even though he's an off-the-ball guy. Just a high-motor guy. It's kind of what I expected from him. Could he sneak in the back end of the first? Chad Muma, linebacker from Wyoming. He dominated testing. Besides the 40 number was in the 4.6s. That's fine. Fine with that. But he's super explosive in the broad, the vert. Some ridiculous numbers there. So that's impressive. We were starting to talk about him, leading in the combine. I still think he's in that second-round range. Leo Chenal is probably in that second-round range as well. Tested, pretty consistently at the top there in all those tests to show his athletic ability there. It's pretty much the same page with Muma. Muma a little bit more explosive, but pretty much in that range. Quay Walker, linebacker, Georgia. Georgia's red, by the way. Graphics guy thought they were orange there. I loved Quay Walker. on the field drills. The last slides, you kind of put the numbers up there, and he had pretty good numbers. Didn't have like a lot of them, didn't do a whole lot of tests, but kind of want him in the big, now I'm thinking about it, the big winner group, just because I loved what I saw from Kayvon, another Georgia guy, on-field drills there. I mean, just so smooth. Even in the ball drills, I mean, attacking the ball, kind of gave me safety to safety playing linebacker, which a lot of these guys are taking over the NFL. They kind of look, when you watch them play, like safeties that are built and play the linebacker position at a high level. Fred Warner, guys like this. That's kind of what I thought of. So he just looked really smooth. It's another guy that's got to be going second. Could he sneak in late one? Georgia Bulldogs are insane here. Some kind of negatives here. Myjai Sanders, I see him line up as 40. I'm like, what? That's Myjai Sanders? And then heard Daniel Jeremiah talking about, like, he looks underweight here. It ended up being the case. He was very, very, very light. Looked off. You think, I was thinking, did he just purposely get this light to test well and then solidify himself as maybe as a 3-4 outside linebacker, even though he's still too light? And then he didn't look right. Didn't test poorly, but even on field drills, you expect him to be, if he's light, be a little quicker. But then it came out that he's been dealing with an illness, which isn't good either. But so maybe that's the reason. But do you lose that much weight for that? I understand you can lose a little bit of weight. That's tough. So that doesn't help. In the stands, coaches, executives, scouts, seeing him, it's like, what is that about? Is this going to pop up again? That's not good. It's not good there. Kingsley Enagbare from South Carolina, who I like his tape a lot. I was hyping him up heading into this. I like his tape as a 4-3 end, powerful, throwing guys around, really attacking the ball, sideline to sideline at times. Really improved this last year. See some traits. I thought he looked pretty damn athletic on tape, though, and he did not match the combine. Slower than expected, just looked really stiff running the 40, which is sometimes guys overdo. They overdo the technique. Teams, coaches try to teach the technique, and you want to stay low first, and guys end up stiff because they exaggerate that too much. So that's kind of what I was thinking, but he kind of looked the same way in the drills. So a little concerned with that. I thought, I still like his tape. I like his tape, and I was thinking this could be a first-round pick, but with all these other guys kind of really improving, probably not a first-round pick now. Probably feel a little safer for some of the other guys. And then Jesse Luquette from the edge rusher from Penn State tested extremely poorly, which was surprising. I think he ended up having a hamstring injury at some point, so maybe he was dealing with something the whole time. But these Penn State guys, I thought there would be they expected to be a little freaky here, and this one, not so much. And then DeMarvin Leal didn't test too well. Didn't really mind him on the field drills. But yeah, the thing with Leal is, he's versatile. He's a versatility. He played almost a edge rush spot, defensive end at times. He played defensive tackle. He played. You feel like this guy can line up at 4-3 end, 3-4 end, 3 technique, and in a 4-3, which is a defensive tackle that's kind of known for getting after the quarterback. But I think you remove some of the. I mean, you most definitely remove the 4-3 end, which we thought anyways. He probably wasn't going to play that, but he did line up there at times. But he's just running in the 5s. I think 5 flat actually. And not showing the explosiveness, that's just off the table now. In the end position, maybe the 3-4 too as well. So maybe it limits the versatility now. Pretty good tape getting after the quarterback though. 4-3, 3 technique possibly, defensive tackle. That's possible. Neil Farrell, who we didn't really expect to test well, as a big guy there on the inside for LSU, but tested at the bottom of every category. So was he maybe a round 3 guy before? I think more of a day 3. Got to be a day 3 now. And then Devin Lloyd, which slower than expected. The official time, because he was running the 4.7s unofficial. The official time ended up being 4.66, so it's not bad. He just looks freaky on tape. Like I was expecting him to blow us away. I was expecting in the 4.5s. Could he be that freaky guy that gets in that 4.4? So it was a little underwhelming. Tape is so good. He's a versatile guy as well. Gets after quarterback, drops in coverage. Just a big impact play maker. So I don't know if he really drops. You just can't really rise him up, because I was starting to think, because he was in that range of the teens, maybe early teens before. No one really had him outside, late teens or anything like that. And I thought, he's so good. He's so versatile. These linebackers are dominating today's NFL. He's equally good at getting after quarterback, stopping a run, in coverage. Starting to think, this guy could be a top 10 guy. Probably not now. Probably not. So I think he stays in that teen range. So a little underwhelming. I expected him to wow. I expected to get out of my seat from him. So, and he honestly didn't look that great in the drills either. So it's not a guy that we're gonna drop much because he's so good on tape. But yeah, he's probably just sticking in his range. Maybe drop a little bit. Other linebackers making some money. Didn't get to see him to Kobe Dean, which doesn't help or really hurt him, I guess. We'll see him at the pro day. But those are my thoughts from day 3. A lot of studs. Obviously, we talked about a lot of guys in this video. DB start, in an hour or so here at the time I'm recording this. So I'm excited about that. Excited to watch these corners. Excited to watch Kyle Hamilton. Dax Hill should be freaky as well. We'll have our day 4 recap, winners, losers, stock report, all of the above. And then we'll have our updated post-combine mock draft, which I'm really excited about, getting more of an understanding here. And then we have all of our free agency content. Grade every signing. Always talking on Twitter. Link down below. Check that out. It's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.